It's a Millstone area?
Yeah, it says,
Bridge?
whereas
It
construction will be accomplished through uniform project number,
It might be the bridge that goes across between Rosebud and Muscle Shop County.
yeah,
Yeah,
title,
could be
Because that
one
was in the
too.
system too.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
and then maybe there's more here when we get through more of it, but,
Does it tell you the bridge number? Cause that 4H bridge was 03807.
it's, project number and then title Muscle R-9M Northeast Millstone Project located Route L such and such locally owned, known as Bridge Road.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one down there that we.
Bridge number NBI L4411803 plus 0101 and, okay.
We have Kathy Thompson.
Is
Yeah.
Kathy out here? Kathy, can you hear us?
Good morning.
Good
Good morning. You know, Kathy, I'm sorry but we tabled awarding, we want to do kind of a more thorough review.
Okay,
Both proposals
perfect.
a lot of time was put in and both of them were really good, so, you know, that's where we're at. But we for sure will have it by next Friday.
Okay, that sounds good. I appreciate you guys taking the time, actually, so we'll look forward to tuning in again next week.
All right,
Okay,
very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Bye.
All right,
You have a good day. I'll have to get that mullion done. This is what happened to me yesterday.
well, I think that's controlled by this thing.
Well, I thought it was, there's no volume on that. So I was trying it on the, you know, usually you get down in the corner, you can get volume and then, you know, adjust
Okay,
it.
I think you're
But
right.
I couldn't seem to get that either, but by then I realized it was the wrong,
Is there anything that shows volume?
not that I noticed. Didn't notice it yesterday either. but I
Here
was
it is,
looking
right here,
for
right here, my friend.
Find it? Oh, there we go.
Next up.
There we go. Cause I woke up everybody in this office.
But see, that's another thing, nobody turned that volume up,
Yeah.
nobody did that. And all of a sudden, it's like these settings change.
And it was Floyd Fisher talking and man, you could hear him.
Yes, you could.
Well, you never know, it might get software updates that automatically.
That's what
reset
does it, that's what does it. And then, just so you know, Mike, it was over here, all the way to the right.
All the way to the right, huh?
And also this is, I think, well, that's internet access, but all the way to the right.
Yeah, okay.
So it was right there in front of you, I don't know why you did it.
Well, like I said, I was looking for that icon and then I realized this ain't what I want anyway, so I just shut it down. And
All right, are we through with, so I can close out a public comment, right? I'm gonna close
I
this.
guess, with Kathy Thompson.
I'm not gonna shut this down yet. I suppose I can.
Is Lori coming in today? I suppose not. I didn't see her. Yeah, what do we want to talk about? Meetings?
Yeah.
All right, well, you gotta let Lonnie know. We're gonna talk about meetings.
Okay, I'm just trying to get all this situated and then we'll be in.
Okay, we should hold off till she comes back in.
Yeah, we need to be muted.
Okay. I was just making sure I had everything that needs to be going out ready and
All right.
have Cheryl test it and all that stuff.
All right.
Meetings.
Well, I had a safety meeting on March 14th. That was
Huh?
the last one. No, that was the previous one. That's how long it's been since we had a safety meeting, March 14th, 24.
So when did you have it? What day?
Tuesday.
Tuesday? Okay.
But the only thing, of course, we had Ron's back to work, light duty. I said I thought the work was always light duty. He argued with me. But of course, and there was a EMT that had an accident. Yeah, he was in the ambulance working on something, and they made a hard stop, and he hurt his shoulder, and he said, oh, well. So
Holy
there's a,
smokes, man. Which EMT?
No, we can't,
he didn't
can't
say.
say.
Oh,
He didn't say. Of course, Lori is down to light duty. But now Virgil's wreck. Of course, Virgil, he didn't go, they made a report, but he's actually not on any light duty or anything else. I think he went to the doctor, but they didn't find anything wrong with him, so. And the only thing they were worried about was the ladders at the courthouse. Now, do you know anything about these ladders?
Ladder going up to the
Sure
roof?
know about it.
Oh, the ladders, okay,
Yeah,
the safety
they said-
ladders, the fire
Safety
ladders.
ladders. They did it in the state over here. They said there's a ladder you're supposed to have and be able to put up the window and climb down.
sure.
And they're ridiculous, I guess.
They work.
Of course, according to Cheryl, they don't work. That's what they said, they don't work. They're too light. I didn't know they had any such thing. And the only other safety concern they thought about is there's a lot of coal dust down there in the speeding room down there, the boiler. And they think they should need to get somebody to vacuum that up.
That's the DocuSign thing.
You know, I don't even know how on earth they do that,
Yeah.
because, I mean, well, there's coal dust down in the boiler room, but every single fixture,
Mm-hmm.
power socket, light switch, hole in every single wall has got a fine dusting of coal dust coming
Right.
out of it. No matter how much you wipe it down, it's just embedded into the building down there.
It's been 100 years.
It's a lot of coal dust.
They thought maybe there was something they could do about it, Acorns business where they do chimneys and stuff, that's what they do. Could ask them, but yeah, you're right, it'd be an almost impossible job.
Yeah, I think you.
I said just put up a no smoking sign, is what I thought. So anyhow, they were concerned about it, but I'm not sure what we can do about it. And ladders, I never heard anything about ladders you throw
Yeah,
out a
they,
window.
they brought them in a long time ago, and they were just cheap little, I wouldn't go down it, I'd jump before I'd go down it.
But of course, there was only 3 of us that showed up at the meeting, so much for safety, huh? And he mentioned the safety manual that we handed this out to all our department heads. Not that I know of. But this is what they're supposed to grab when they have an issue, and they can fill it out, turn it in. So I thought, well, I don't think this might be the only copy we have here.
Maybe they should make one and hand them out to the department head.
Yeah. Well, it won't be hard to do. Of course, we still have to finish this handbook.
It's gonna take a lot of paper just to make all those copies. Very costly.
Yeah. Tell them if they have a problem, run to the courthouse and get one.
Let's weigh the fact that we're keeping people from getting injured, we're sure saving paper.
Yeah, we'll have to do a study on that. We'll set up a committee. So, I didn't mean to do it. I just threw all my stuff away.
Well, we met on Monday.
Yeah.
I showed that on the 27th we met. No, that got canceled. The meeting with Catalyst for Change, that got canceled. Okay, never mind. So Tuesday, we had the Fair Board meeting.
Who all went?
Mike and I were there, Mike Goffney.
Anything to report? Just
Well,
the appointees?
that's where they talked about the need to, they didn't have a quorum, and they talked about the need to have a out-of-cycle sort of a emergency meeting to discuss how they might, if and how they would purchase that paneling, corral paneling and equipment for the arenas. And oddly enough, you know, and I need to write this down, they didn't think that Signal Peak Foundation would help them.
Yeah, yeah.
They said because they told me in the
Brenda Small
past,
said that they tried it, and they said they wouldn't be helping.
So they're not gonna do it?
no, they got,
Oh, no,
I think
no,
they're
no.
gonna do it, but it's,
They wanna do it, they just gotta find more funding. Problem is, they got a deadline on it, I mean, it has to be done immediately.
yeah, the guy's giving them a,
George,
supposedly a big break, although that hasn't been quantified on the price, and that, but he can't hold that price forever.
George Grindlin brought this up, they were gonna buy almost $60,000 worth of panels and chutes and completely renovate the whole rodeo grounds, so.
Well, it would modify, what are the,
And it is a safety issue they have.
yeah, they've got some, it's a big deal, but it's not, you know, complete modification, but it is a big deal, and it does cost a lot of money, and, you know, I told them first they need to know how much money they have, you know, and then they need to figure out, and then they might be asking us for a county match, you know, if we can help them. So they gotta work through it, but the consensus in the meeting was they really wanted to take advantage of this
Yeah,
opportunity.
and it has to be done now.
Yeah,
They can't wait for Signal Peak to meet, which isn't gonna meet till March, I don't think, so.
or if they knew,
Why don't they call Mayor Jones?
yeah, they should, but they said that Signal Peak wouldn't fund that because they're not funding anything for the fairgrounds because it can be washed away in a flood, and I'm just not sure I'll buy that. I think they will help them out. Because that would be great
That's a
advertising
real
for us.
pessimistic view, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, and what Gary Eliason suggested was, tell them that you'll give them advertising rights for the roping chute. Their name can be right on the roping chute permanently. You know, he said they might pay for all of it, you know, so, or not just Signal Peak, anybody, he kinda talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So they're working on ways to do it, to get it paid for. But the, sort of the overall observation that I thought was really encouraging is, there seemed to be an engaged group there that's really legitimately interested in approving and making the most out of that fairgrounds. There's sort of an energy there that's real positive.
Well, this was Scott, he's the guy that does all rodeos,
Yeah,
and George Grindlin.
down in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was up and they looked at the fair and he said, oh my God, they got a safety issue is what it is. I mean, it's just so run down. There's 3 or 4 gates they have to shut with log chains. Well, you got a bull coming at you, you ain't got time to hook a log chain.
No,
So it's more of a safety issue. It might lower the insurance rates, so.
Well, and they also said it would help in attracting more of the people on the circuits coming and participating,
Yeah.
because facilities are better, and you got a $100,000 horse, you're not gonna risk it, you know.
well, and that's what I talked to George about. I says, if you're gonna be looking at getting Signal Peak to buy into it, it's gonna have to be safety related.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to make it a major point that it's gonna be helping the safety of the participants,
Mhm.
and of course also, well, and cause he was talking about the safety of the horses and all of that.
I'm not sure who Brenda talked to find out in Signal Peak. She said
Yeah.
probably would not be interested.
It's, well, they can talk to the mayor.
Yeah.
Yep, I
And
agree.
the other one, you know, they can talk to is Tom Hogan as well, and he's on
Yeah.
the same committee as well.
Is Sue Olson on that still?
Yeah,
I believe so, yeah.
yep.
I think that's a perfect thing for them to invest in. And it would, obviously, it would be an upgrade and improvement that's probably been needed to be done for a long time. We also did our radio spot on Wednesday,
All of you?
all of us.
Yeah.
And,
We did embarrass ourselves too bad.
Oh, I'm sure.
a lot of foul language and
Yeah.
bleeding. Ain't gonna do this.
Time.
They muted it.
Can't be done, ain't gonna do this. And also I did testimony for HB2 on Zoom, which is the bill to fund the DES for their risk planning and mitigations. Basically what it is state money allocated to local governments to get federal state money to as a match to leverage federal dollars.
Mitigation,
Yeah.
which is important.
I met with the Millstone City Council and talked about our grant for the water project. But the biggie they just gave me an update on what the process is going, what the water line process is taking shape, and I talked to them about the fact that I met with the DNRC people in Billings, and they are interested in taking over ownership of their water wells that they owe $175,000 on. And with them having to continue to pay on that mortgage, in addition to paying for the water from Hobson, it's going to be pretty tight for them. So we're trying to get away from that mortgage. And we came up with some good.
So DNRC would just take that over?
Well, they're interested. So we're going to pursue this a little more. There's other.
As being able to firefighting water, right?
Right, firefighting water. Mm-hmm. And so the DNRC is interested, the local fire department is interested. One of the issues I mentioned is that they should also keep the line in place from the wells down to the city of Millstone in the event that the water from Hobson doesn't make it. There's something wrong with it. And they are concerned that they can't have two sources of water and still get their grant funding.
Right.
And that might be true, but I do know that Roundup has got the same situation going on. They have theirs. They have their old water pump down here and all. They've got a valve down there. They can turn it on if they need to. So I need to follow up on that. That's the issue we've had with the fairgrounds.
Yeah, that sounds kind of promising, but it's gonna need a little bit of effort to push it.
Well, and I asked them if they would, they need to go and talk to Signal Peak, and of course,
Yeah.
they're really tight with Tom Hogan. And he could give them some advice as to what to do, or if they should even just not even show up. But it's health related. Water, of course, is one of the number one health concerns. And it also helps not just the city, but also the whole community, because they'll have another huge water source to fight fires with.
Yes. I think that's the best avenue with DNRC. Because we had the other grant with them. First of all, we had the grant to study the route to bring water.
Yeah.
Then we had another grant with them to upgrade their metering and, just a number of things, study the sewer and all that kind of stuff. And also to fix their wells, to clean out their wells and replace their pump. There's been a significant investment in maintaining those wells. But I didn't know that, they owed all this money on them to start with. That must go back quite a few years.
Well, it's been about 10 years now.
Okay.
They have gotten some grant funding, so put the cost down, but those wells are really, the whole system is weak. The well system is weak.
Yeah, they're high maintenance wells.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go down and replace the pump about every 2 years, and then pumps are not cheap.
They got a 25,000 gallon holding tank that they could fill with water.
So when they go down, they have a little reserve.
Yes. They could use that for firefighting, and then they turn the wells on and they don't have to rely on
Well, and it would be a good thing for the NRC, but you know, $175,000 is a chunk of money,
it. DNRC doesn't have the money.
yeah.
You know, they go through, they've already gone through their budgeting process and they can't, so they're not gonna be able to cough that up. But if we start talking about it now, maybe they could be
Wasn't they-
included in a bill or.
Weren't they
whatever.
thinking that that could be forgiven, that it was normally?
No,
Talking with Bob Church, he said normally they forgive those things, but that's what he said to me, but we're
Well,
not
you-
gonna do it on this one.
well, and that was an issue they were talking, the forgiveness part was something that Garrett had mentioned, and I says, don't do it, because if you get your forgiveness on that federal money, that's okay, they can do it, but anytime they're like an alligator, the federal government will be like an alligator, just waiting in the pond, for any federal money you get, they'll take it, until that $175,000 is
Gotcha,
paid,
gotcha.
so don't do it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's best if they could get a grant or something. Or, you know, maybe just plan they're gonna have to pay so much, no, some ways they would work now, that's a challenge.
Yeah, I
that's a
think-
challenge.
I
We're
think there's
working
some
on
promise
it,
here.
they're working
Yeah,
on it.
they're working on
We'll
it.
find a way to do it.
And what day was that?
That was Monday night.
I just noticed, Bob, you didn't get the memo.
What's that?
This is Black Shirt Friday.
I got black vest. Notice black shirt Friday, I wore a white shirt.
I think we're about as color coordinated as you could possibly expect.
I heard it was black or white.
Oh, did you? I know, you got a black undershirt on, right?
Yeah, yeah. Black, never mind. We also had a Zoom meeting with a community healthcare worker yesterday,
Yeah.
and Amber and Catalyst for Change.
Things are moving a little too slow for county, which I agree.
And I was not able to go to that.
So is this Mike and Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Zoom. That's where Mike had the volume issues.
That's right, yeah.
So it was kind of a creative solution. I said, why is he putting the headset on? And then when he said otherwise, it's too loud.
It was definitely.
It was very loud.
Yeah, it wasn't. And it wasn't even the right screen. I mean, I had a recording on. Because it was Floyd Fisher and group. And Floyd was talking and man, he blasted down the room. I was sitting there scrambling for the volume and then I thought, why would Floyd Fisher be in that meeting? You know, and once in a while you get on this, you get the recording of a meeting. I'm sure exactly how that happens.
So was it Floyd was he recorded on Monday?
Yeah, it was an old meeting.
The refuse meeting?
It was a
Yeah,
refuge
it was.
board or it was a refuge board or something. What went to mid refuge board he went to when he was here in the commissioner's office.
I don't think
We did have a
recorded it.
refuse meeting as well.
Yeah, he attended the refuse meeting by computer.
Yeah.
You were there, Mike?
I was there.
That was on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It was a good little meeting.
And then the other thing that kind of came out of the Catalyst for
We'll
Change
give you
was
the minutes.
instead of meeting bi-weekly, they decided that wasn't necessary. We were gonna have a bi-weekly teams meeting, but it was clear that, you know, it's just Kelly needs to keep reaching out to them for direction and us as well, we told her.
Yeah.
Like, she needed a printer and you were in on that. Ben was on it too.
So Ben was there too?
Yep.
The other little thing I did is that I talked to Gary Barta about
Oh, did you?
re-looking at the appraisal. He's gonna be in here today and he's
Okay.
gonna be right after lunch. He's gonna stop in, make another inspection, and then he's gonna talk to us about that.
Did he
Yeah,
sound-
I had a
did
very
he-
good discussion.
Did he sound open to it? or-
Oh, gosh, yeah, well,
Appraisal for what?
Then
for
lost
the
lots
two
for the Weir
lots
building.
next to the Weir building.
north of where they're just to see if we can.
That's the simplest
Well,
solution.
there's two things. Number one is that one lot is bigger than the other, and wasn't addressed in his appraisal. And then the other one was that he was well, actually three. I looked at his appraisal. He did not contact the people who were, he did not, the owners, he did not contact them. He talked to people who had done business with the contractor who filled it in, but he did not actually call the people who owned the lots. And I kind of, you know, when you let him describe the situation, I don't have a concern about that. The other is that he did not, one of his comparables was a lot that had sold within 6 months and had been the price rate was raised $5,000 from 15 to 20. And he did not use that as a comparable, and it's right next door to the other two. So, and I don't know, I told him, I don't know where you can get that information. You might have to go to the, I'm pretty sure that I heard that from Kenny Many. Teresa was aware of it. She says, get a hold of them and they'll give you the detail. Because those kind of things are confidential.
Of course they are.
Those sales are, so.
No disclosure.
But he'll come in and he'll explain what he's gonna do.
We'll find out.
I told him, you know, I'm not trying to push you one way or the other. I just can't. Those are just concerns with your appraisal. And we'll pay you.
Yeah,
Pay you to revise it.
there
We
you go,
have
that's what I
to.
told
Well, we
Teresa.
have to.
Well, I don't know, but I think
We have to
that's,
pay for the, and it's a new date you're gonna have to use today. You can't go backwards and say that. Or he can, but in order to protect yourself,
I
use
think
today.
I think it's the right thing to do, although the whole issue there is how could you appraise these and not recognize the improvements to the lots?
Well, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm against him using those, because they were not improvements. They just threw a bunch of concrete in there.
No, they upgraded the electrical and the
Did they?
utilities, and they actually did some work for them.
Well,
Make sure-
that's what he's gonna have to
Yeah,
find.
yeah, it's not, now the filling in, I don't get, I'm with you, that's kinda like, but they did actually improve the utilities, they had to upgrade the utilities. And that's cost money, that's part of what they spent money on. So, I think
Well,
it's,
but then that was the discussion that him and I had, and we'll talk about this. You can put $1 million into it, but still only worth 20,000.
well,
so-
it's worth
it's-
what it can sell
It's,
for.
he'll have to see how that works.
Yeah, it's worth
There
what
are
it can sell for.
there are three different processes you gotta go through. You gotta go through cost, and you go through summation. That is, you summate all the little, like one lot is bigger than the other, so by square foot, the summation value of that lot should be larger.
Right,
And then there's market. But then you have to coordinate all three of those when you make your final value. So we'll see what he does.
we're so close though.
He'll probably reduce their appraisal.
But we do not want conflict of interest here.
But yeah, we're not gonna influence, it's gotta be what it is, but when I talked to Teresa, you know, she was talking about getting another appraisal. I said, well, before we do that, why don't we ask Gary if there's a legitimate reason for him to reconsider and redo it.
Well, and I said that I would totally agree with that. I'd call him, because when I looked at the appraisal, I found those three little things that he really needs to address. Mhm.
Now, when you do an appraisal, and I didn't read his appraisal in detail, but don't you have to give the reason that you came up with the value?
Yeah.
Did he do that in the appraisal?
I think he
It was
probably
mainly
did.
market.
Good.
But then that was the other thing that triggered.
Yeah,
He
he'll
didn't
put
have the
down
other-
3 or 4 lots that have sold, and he
Mhm.
knows what they went for. I read it, they went from $8,000 up to $35,000.
Well, if there would ever be a prime lot, that would be it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. So anyway, I think but I've run into this when I've tried to buy
That one,
property.
someone had bought it for $12,000 and resold it 2 months later for $35,000. I thought, wow, that guy did all right. It was some lot on the west end.
I think that was up by the hospital, if I'm
Yeah,
not
maybe
mistaken.
so.